In this video, I want to demonstrate how to add the contour toolpath to the bottom of your part. The first thing we see when we read the instructions is we're told to use solid chaining to start on this side of the part and as far away from the origin as we can, so over here. So first I'm going to select the contour toolpath, then I'm going to make sure I'm in solid chaining, and I want to use the edges chaining method. I'm going to rotate this part around a bit, and I'll just zoom in on this edge. So I want to select this edge, and it shows me it's going to start here and it's going to come around and end here. So I'm going to zoom out and I'm going to rotate around. I want to select the same geometry so the cutter is on the same side of the part over here. So first I'm going to tell it to end that chain, and then I'm going to continue rotating around, and I need to select that edge first, and that chain's good, so I'm going to end that chain. Then I can end all chaining. I'm going to come here to the window, go to Tool, tell it to select the tool from the library, go to Filter, I'm going to say None, then I'm going to switch to Flat Bottom End Mills, and the size of the tool isn't mentioned, but it has to be smaller than the radius on the part. So I'm going to right click here, and I'm going to tell it equals the diameter of an arc first off, and I'll just choose that arc. So I see that's 1 inch, so the tool can be anything under 1 inch. I'm just going to set it to 1/2 inch. 3/4 will do, 5/8 will do. It didn't say what size, it just said make it work. So I'm going to say OK. I'm going to choose this 1/2 inch end mill and say OK again. And then down here it says the cutting speed is 400. So I'm going to enter 400 here. Always turn on rapid retract. It says the feed per tooth is 10 thou. So I'm going to enter 10 thou. I'm going to add a comment with the caps lock on, cutting the slots or whatever you'd like to call them. Then I'm going to come to cut parameters, and again I'm going to read my instructions. And I see I missed something, so I'm going to go back to the tool. It says make the plunge rate 50, so I'm going to enter 50 here. And now I can go cut parameters and have a look if I need to set anything up. So this is only cutting a 30-second deep. We don't need a rough and a finish pass. It doesn't say to use depth cuts. I'm going to leave the lead in and lead out to the default unless they don't work. I don't want a breakthrough, but I do want multi-passes because I was told the step over has to be 70% of the cutter. So I'm going to turn this on. And the number and spacing will be up to you, but I need to use 70%. So 70%, I'm going to say 0.5 times 0.7 gives me 0.35. So I'm going to tell it to take 2 cuts. And then it says it wants 1 finish pass. So I'm going to enter 1. And the spacing is 15 thou. And the only 2 other instructions I've given for these is that the flood coolant must be on, and the tool has to feed from 100 thou above the part 0. So I'll watch that these cuts work when I simulate it. I'm going to go to linking parameters. I'm going to make all of these absolute. So these are fine. There is a 30-second of material here, and it is going negative a 30-second. So the last thing I need to do is go to the flood coolant, turn it on, and say OK. I'm going to right click and show the isometric view. And I want to double check that the cutter's on the right side of the material. So I'm going to push Alt-S to turn the shading on. And I can see right away I've got the cutter on the wrong side. So that's fine. I'm going to go back into the parameters. I'm going to come up to the cut parameters. I'm going to switch this from left to right. Say OK. Regenerate that. And now they're on the proper side. So I can go ahead and I can simulate this. So when I simulate, I'm first going to go to the verify. And I want the color loop to turn on so that each tool leaves its own color on the part. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say run. And I'm always going to look at the collision report and make sure it's empty. So it's cut my part. It's what I had hoped to see. I have the step over. Here's the first cut. Here's the second and the finish pass, taking that 15 thou. So I'm going to save my work, and in the next video we'll continue with the next step of the instruction.